3, 2, 1. Oh, okay. I think we're live. Hey, everyone.
All right.
Welcome to the Designer Show today. We are on a call here with John and Robin. How you guys
Hello.
doing?
Doing
Okay.
great. How are you guys?
Doing good. Another kind of a blustery day here in Minnesota, but we'll survive.
No, it's really lovely here in Portland. It's so pretty
Is it?
today.
You're having good
Yeah.
weather?
Yeah, for a few more days. And then it'll start raining again. You know, it's kind of our normal MO, right?
Yeah.
And Kevin is on Mallorca, which, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, it's beautiful there. If you ever get the chance to go to Mallorca, I highly recommend it. It's so
That'd be cool.
beautiful.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
He sent some text yesterday of the Easter parade that they're having there.
I saw
don't know
that.
if it's a parade or what it was called, but celebration. It was pretty
Yeah.
interesting. So
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Looked pretty cool. Anywho, we're gonna jump into here we're gonna talk about getting started with Chief Architect. But we're gonna go all the way back to the beginning of if you're just brand spanking new. But you guys that have been using a while, hang on, because maybe you'll learn something. So we'll cover
Or be reminded of something.
Or be reminded.
Exactly.
Exactly. Good point.
Hi,
So
Kenny. Hi, Doug. Hi, Larry. And
hey guys.
Everett. Welcome, Everett. He's new.
Everett Elkins. He is not new. He's been a client of mine for a long, long time. Hi, Everett. How are you?
It says
But he's probably new here today.
He joined Renee's.
welcome.
He joined Renee's YouTube channel. That's why it says he's a new member.
Got it.
Cool.
Oh,
Hey, Renee.
nice. Hi, new member.
Speak
Oh,
of
that's
the
Everett.
devil.
No, Everett.
Nice haircut, Renee.
There's
Just
Gina.
kind of
Hey,
just
Gina.
cut straight across.
Yep.
They don't use balls anymore. They just use plates. Huh? Sorry. I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry. It looks good though.
It never
But
looks
you
good when
always
it's
look good.
done. It needs a couple days.
Anyway, welcome. So
Welcome, everyone.
a couple of housekeeping things. We get people logging in yet. So
Hey, Cassidy.
we're gonna just do a quick intro for the next event we have coming up, which is the Chief Architect Training in Rockville, Maryland. And it's coming up pretty quick. Gosh, let's see, where's my screen?
3 weeks, I think, isn't it? 2.5
Well,
weeks.
here I can tell you. Just a second. Oh, there's that. I had my screen sharing going.
I see Kenny in here. John, did he have fun seeing behind the scenes for the show?
Oh yeah, yeah. He thought it was pretty cool.
So am I showing the right screen here?
Yes, you are.
All right, cool. So here's our class. If we go to chiefexperts.com, and it's right there at the top of the homepage. It is going to be starting in, hey, where'd our countdown thing go?
Couple of higher. You just missed it.
Did I miss it?
Yeah, right there. Stop. Back down. Right there. Stop. One more time. Down there. Down. There. May 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th.
No, there's a countdown clock on here that, oh, there
Right
it is.
back. You missed
24
it.
days, 19 hours, 55 minutes. Okay. We'll be in Rockville, Maryland, doing a class. We did that here last year. John and I will be doing a live class. Let me just make you dizzy here for a second. It will be 2 days of beginner and intermediate courses and 2 days of intermediate and advanced. So we kind of just, in those 4 days, we kind of go through a whole process. The first 2 days, we go through a abbreviated fast process of how to create a set of plans in Chief. And then the next 2 days, we kind of pick up on that again, but we go deeper and deeper into different parts of the program. So check it out. We'd love to have you there. We've got room yet. So it should be a fun time. It's going to be held at the Ferguson in Rockville, Maryland. And they have a nice training room that we can use. So it worked out really well last year when we went there. They'll have snacks and everything, dinner, lunch for everybody. That will be supplied by some sponsors, and then the sponsors will come in and do a little presentation about their products, which was really fun. It was really cool to have something a little bit different than what we normally do. So we'll be covering a lot of information, some of what we're going to touch on today, actually. So check it out, chiefexperts.com, and you can hopefully join us. That would be cool. All right. What's new with you guys? Robin,
Just-
you're going to be updating NKBA guidelines? You were
Yeah, we're
mentioning
going to be-
again?
Yes, well, we created the new guidelines and now we're going to be updating them. So that's going to be fun. I'm excited to get to do that again.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Renee, what's going on in your world?
Just working on all my product stuff for X17.
17.
You know-
Have you heard anything about when X17 might be around?
Not that I could say.
Okay. I get it.
Yeah, I do want to let you know that I've been using your shower. Renee has a new shower system thing,
Have
which
you
is
used it?
amazing. I have been using it and I really like it. So thank you. It's really cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm doing 2 bathroom renovations right now and I started using it. It's like, yeah, that's really nice. It's really
Good
nice.
for
I think I
you.
have to raise my rates again, you guys. I think it's making it too fast. So now I have to raise my rates again.
There you go.
Yeah,
I have to
I'm
redo
interested to
that.
see when someone starts getting into something a little more custom than the out of the box ones. But I mean, out of the box, you can get them pretty custom. So Cassie has them.
Yeah.
I wonder if
Yeah.
she's played around.
Who has it?
Cassie in the comments.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
she got them too. So give it a couple weeks, see if people start using it.
Cool.
That's one of
Yeah,
those
it's pretty
ones
cool.
where I used it and I'm like, it can't be this easy, right?
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go,
Yeah.
Cassidy.
Nicely done. Yeah, it's a really cool. It's very nice. I really like it a lot. So thank
Well,
you.
Renee, cue that up and you can show that a little bit later, okay?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Good. John, where are you at today?
I'm in Melbourne, Florida.
Melbourne,
And
Is
I've
that
been
Florida.
baby
here
born?
We've been here for a while, and it's looking like today is going to be our grandson's birthday.
Oh my
Nice.
gosh.
Not born yet,
Can't
but
wait.
it's looking good.
Send
Awesome.
pictures.
Congrats.
Can't
That's
wait.
great. This will be number 8.
Number 8.
Jeez.
First for our daughter and her husband, and number 8 for grandkids
Wow.
for us.
That's awesome.
Good for you guys.
Congratulations.
That is amazing. Cool. All right. Well, let's talk chief architect here. So, what is chief architect? What is chief architect anyway? I mean, we could banter about what is chief architect for a long time. I'm going to call it one of the best communication tools out there in the construction industry. So that's one thing that it is, but that doesn't help you draw a plan. So what is chief? It's a CAD program. It is a very full-featured, very robust version number 26 in the world of versions CAD program. And that's it. That's what it is. It's a CAD program. It's a CAD program that fits a niche market for drawing buildings. All right. Although you can draw just about anything. You can draw on any CAD program with this, but the focus of the chief architect people is to draw buildings. And they've given us the tools to do that. So whenever I teach a class, and John will attest to this, he's been in many of my classes, I want you to understand that, yes, it is a CAD program. So we're going to talk about CAD kinds of things, even for beginners. Not too deep. We'll get into a little XY, maybe a Z, and that's about it for a beginner course. But as we get into it further, you're going to start learning about all the different things like offsets and mirroring and all of this kind of stuff. Although we cover some of that stuff in the beginner classes too, but we just don't really call it those things. So it's one of those things, when you understand some of that lingo, it makes drawing with chief a little bit easier, a lot easier, actually, I think.
Right.
So we'll cover some basic things here in the next 45 minutes or so. And this is really a course meant for beginners, people that are just getting into chief architect. So if you've been in the program for a while using it, and I know many of you here are intermediate, advanced, and sometimes very advanced users. Yeah, might find this a little boring, maybe not. But hang in there, maybe.
I have a suggestion. Anybody that's on the call that's been using it for a while, if they can think back to some of the struggles they had right at the beginning,
That's a really
comment.
great,
put a comment in there and maybe we'll talk about it.
that's a great comment, John. Thanks for bringing that
Oh,
up.
plan
Can you-
views. They were horrible out of the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely horrible.
So can you imagine, you get this program and you open it and you draw something and you click on something and then all of these icons pop up down here at the bottom of the screen. And then you've got all these icons at the top of the screen. You got icons over here and you got this area over here where you can put things. And that's just a small fraction of what the software has. So what does all this stuff do? I mean, if you open any software program, go open up Photoshop or go open up any kind of software program that has tons of icons, and we can all feel the pain that new chief architect users go through. So there's a lot going on here. So let's cover some of the basics. So the goal is to get yourself a good set of drawings that you can use to sell and build a project. Okay, that's the bottom line, is what we're really after. We're after that plan that you can take out to the job and give your carpenters and your subcontractors and everybody involved in the process. Here you go build this project. And the homeowners too, they understand what's going on. So that's what we're after. And how do we get there? So let's just go start talking a little bit about that. I had one open here. I'm just going to close it and we'll just jump into doing some things with the program. So when you get Chief and you load it up first time, you're going to go to chiefarchitect.com and you're going to download the software. They have two versions, the home version and the pro version. Pro version is what we're looking at right here. It's called Premier X16. So that's version number 26. They have the home version too, which is a subset of the pro version. And it's, I think it's $5.95 or $6.95 now. And I think they do a $59 a month rental kind of a thing. I know the Premier is $249 a month, I think, or $19.99 a year. That's their new format that they went through. And after the first couple of years, you kind of break even from the way they used to sell it. So if you're going to get into it, it seems like it's a lot up front. It's really not. It's about, you're going to be breaking about even after about 1 year and 10 months. Okay. After that, then it's going to cost you more than it used to. So, but by then, hopefully you'll be proficient on the software and you'll be making money with it. And, it makes the ROI of what you're going to spend on the software worth it. It's the way the industry is. All CAD programs are doing that now. All the Premier, all the good ones. I mean, AutoCAD, I hear horror stories about how much that costs. They're all doing it. So you just got to bite the bullet and deal with that. So when you open this,
can I interject on that?
Absolutely.
I make digital assets. I sell them. I have an e-commerce site. So
yeah.
I will tell you, it's really, really difficult trying to budget how many hours you're going to put into a development cycle of a new product, not knowing how many people are going to purchase your product for the next year, and if it's going to be a sustainable practice, or if you need to supplement that with some other source of revenue. So I think that the subscription model is extremely ethical and almost necessary. And I'm a big backer of that because I don't charge a subscription, and it's a real challenge figuring out how much time I get to spend making my next products.
Yeah. And you do make a lot of products. So
yeah. And you could just totally lose your butt on it. So as a company grows, like Chief Architect's been growing, and they're trying to develop cloud-based stuff, which we've all been asking for, they need to know, how many, what's your user base? So anyways, carry on.
Yeah, and as we all know, I mean, or anybody that's been to their events and listen to their leaders, listen to the people involved in programming and all that, they got one hell of a good company and a lot of great people, and they're really producing a good product. As far as we know, there's no indication that they're going to ever go anywhere. It's a privately held business. There's no reason to believe they're going to do anything else. So let's hope that holds true, and we'll see what happens. In the meantime, they keep putting out a good product. So when you first load Chief Architect, we're going to get past that point, and you open it the first time, you will
dashboard. dashboard.
Of course. Oh yeah, thank you. You'll open it. I knew
know
it was
where you
there
were
somewhere.
going.
It just bit me. You'll open the first time and you'll see what's called the dashboard. Okay, and this is a place where Chief gives a chance to put some information, help videos, training catalogs, things like that, or catalogs that you can download, the symbol libraries. They'll show different things coming up with their announcements. So it's a good little dashboard to find out what's going on with the program. Plus, you can get to opening new plans and you can have a list of the projects you've been working on. Will show up on the dashboard, and you can adjust the numbers on this in the preferences of Chief on how many you want to show here, and if the dashboard appears or stays here after you open it. So that's a setting in the preferences. We won't go there right now. So once you do get it loaded and you open up a new screen, a new plan, Chief has two kinds of files that you are mainly working with: plan files or .plan files and layout files, layout. They used to have them abbreviated from the old DOS days, but now they just spell out the whole word. So those are
if I could just explain something, just to give a reference to people who are using AutoCAD, and I know it's not for a lot of the people who are here right now, but for anybody listening, plan file to AutoCAD is what model space is. So your plan, your .plan is the same as model space in AutoCAD, and layout is the same thing as paper space in AutoCAD. So just think of it like that. But they're two separate files as opposed to being all in the same file.
Yeah. So if you're coming from that platform, that's a good example of the differences. And by the way, Chief, when I say it's a very full-featured, robust program, we'll go head to head with AutoCAD all day long. No problem there. So if you're an AutoCAD user and you want to get out of that program and just use Chief, we'll help you with that. We've done it with a lot of people. So don't worry about that. So when you open the program, you're going to see some toolbars that look like this. This is called Chief's default toolbars. So you're going to have two rows of icons across the top. You'll have one row over here. You'll have a blank space down here and a blank space over here, which will look more like this. It's going to be a little bit wider, I believe. Okay. So when you click on an icon, you're going to see what are called the child icons over on the left side of the screen. We call them icons, or you could call them buttons. Either way is fine. So you'll notice you get the different types of items showing up here on the left side. And what I had just done is I clicked this little gear icon down here, and you can turn the words off at any time and just have a grid view, and then you can make that so it takes up less real estate on your screen. So you can have either way. I like that Chief gives you that option. So if you're brand new to the program, it's a good idea to leave that list showing so that you can see what the different icons are as you click on them. I've set mine up in preferences to get a drop down. You may not have that out of the box. If you want to do the drop down setting, you would have to go to preferences. That's this little icon right here with a P on it. And you would go to this setting right here, where it's either child palette or drop down. Okay, I prefer drop down to beginning users. Might want to not do that. It depends on your comfort level. The only difference between the two is that if you do the drop down and you choose a different icon from the list, you'll see how the icon changes up here to match the items on the list. So if you're working on a plan and you want to find a door and the door icon's gone, for new users, that's a little confusing. But after you learn where the icons are positioned and you know where you're at, not a big deal either way. So I prefer both. So again, personal preference. That's why they call that little icon preferences. So keep that in mind.
Okay. And just to remember, preferences change how the computer works. It does not change how the plan works or where the drawing space is. So it just changes how the computer works, how colors are, and
Chief works. How Chief works, not your computer.
Right. It's how Chief works, but it's not how the it doesn't affect the drawing of the project that you're working on.
Correct. So whenever you open up a new plan in Chief Architect, so whenever you go up to File, New Plan or Layout, you're actually opening up a copy of a blank plan. Okay. And in that blank plan, you'll have a bunch of defaults set up. This little icon right here that looks like a wrench is a place where we can set up defaults for the plan we're about to work on. So defaults would be things like What kind of cabinets do you want to put in? What kind of walls? What kind of siding? What kind of colors? You know, all those different kinds of things are called defaults. In fact, there's a whole list here of defaults that we can change within the program. And each of these defaults, once you open a new plan, you're working with the defaults just for that plan. You're not doing anything to do with the past plan, because the past plan is a copy of a new plan is a copy of a past plan, a previous plan, and that's set up under preferences again. So it's really easy to see what you're working with when you go to preferences and you go to this under general new plans. When you click the open new plan or layout, you're opening a copy of whatever's listed here. Okay. So it's just like opening, you know, if you've worked on the Jane Smith plan the other day and you said, I like all the settings I had in that. So you open that up and make a copy of it, and then you delete everything and start drawing. All the defaults are there. All the settings are there. You just made that into a template. So that's all a template is. Templates seem to be one of those things that really confuse people as to what is this big magical thing called templates. It's nothing. It's just a copy of a plan with default settings changed. So preferences affect the program. Defaults that affect the plan. Back to preferences for a second. If we can click on this little icon right here, a couple of things I do like to teach new users right away is we want to get used to using the mouse the way it should be used in Chief Architect, which means the number one thing you're going to do is use your left button to click things and draw things. Number two, you're going to use the right mouse button to select things and draw things. Okay, you could use both buttons, and if you can get used to the right mouse button to pick things, the right mouse button to draw things like walls and lines, it makes it a little easier. So we're going to turn on this little setting right here. Click twice to display under appearance, and when you do that and you start drawing and you click on something, in Chief, the right mouse button is called the pick button. It's used to select things in your plan. So when I open a plan, let me open the one I just had open here. So when I want to select something, I can just click on it with my right mouse button, and I can pretty much select anything that I put my cursor over without having to change and select a different mode to click on. So if I'm in the window mode working on Windows, I can only left click on existing windows or left click to place a window, but I can right click on anything at any time. So if you get used to using your right mouse button to do that, and then click twice to display gives you what's called the contextual menu. So this menu is the same as the icons at the bottom of your screen. All right. So we right click twice to get to this menu. I don't use that menu very often because most of the time when I select things, you're selecting it to dimension it, to move it, to delete it, to copy it, to do things like that. And sometimes this menu gets so big and it's in the way, it's just extra work to use that menu. So, but if you're used to using it, keep using it by all means. So that's the one preference I like to have my students change. Button size. If you're using a real high res screen like a 4K or 8K and your icons, the buttons are really tiny, you can change the size of them to fit your screen better. Just make that a bigger number. You'll have to restart Chief to do that. But you see how I have all my buttons that kind of fill the whole screen here. And if you get them too big, they'll flow off the screen and you'll get these little double arrows. You don't want to do that because then a lot of the icons are hidden. So make it just big enough to fill your screen. All right. Another quickie thing here is colors of your handles. And this will be the last one I cover in preferences today. But these colors right here, those are called the handle colors and the fill color. And then we're going to go to edit and we're going to change the handle size. So those two things make it easier for a new user to draw in Chief. So let me just close out of here. So if we go open a new plan. So when I click on something, you see I get these little handles all over them. Okay, so my handles are a little bigger because I've changed the size and preferences under the edit to a 6. I think usually it's a 4 when you open Chief. I've changed it to a 6. All right, try a 5. I have people go up one number and it's usually a little better. Robin, you want to mute yourself, please? We're hearing your click. Thank you. All right, so that's a little bit about the colors. So I just like to do that. I do a fill color that's a light pink. I do handle colors that are red and blue. It's just easier to see the darn things on your screen. And I do
Change
that
my colors all the time.
to different colors.
Yeah.
Why does that not surprise me? You're a
I
colorful
do it too.
guy.
I change it based on my mood, right?
Oh, there you
it's
go.
greens, sometimes they're purples. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get
Well,
bored. You want
yeah,
them to be pretty.
you could always do the different colors here too, do the
Mm.
custom themes. Although that doesn't
Those are
affect
horrible.
that
Yeah.
won't affect the handles, but it'll,
No.
some people, if the screen's too bright for you all the time, just change the theme a little bit, or you can change different parts of it too.
Yeah, their provided themes are pretty bad.
They're really ugly.
They're interesting. So
Yeah. They're hard to process.
yeah. I tend to just run with the default theme. That way, everybody else in the world that I'm showing Chief to, they're probably set at that too. So not confusing people. All right. So in the toolbar setup, all right, another thing I always have my students do is I have them right click on an icon. And I know Robin's going to say she uses this toolbar because it's more basic. And I agree with that. It is more basic, but
I don't use that one. I've modified. I have my own. I've kind of used some of the tools that you add on it. And I've added more tools that I use on a regular basis.
There you go. And that's not the thing we want to do for brand new users of Chief. So I'm going to switch to what's called the extended tool configuration. So you right click on an icon, toolbar configuration, go to extended tool. I've created my own extended tool. And the only thing that's different between mine and Chief's are added these icons that I use all the time. Okay, we talk about that another time. Just choose the toolbar extended. It gives you more of the icons that you use regularly. It's going to eat up a little screen space, so your real estate will be a little bit less. But if you get used to this system, it works pretty well. The thing I like about it is it gives us these 3 drop downs. We got our plan views, defaults, and layers. All right, we'll talk about that in just a second, what those are. But these are the things we use to switch around in our plan to do different things. Now, with that in mind, with those little 3 things in mind, let me go open up a plan again. So one of the things I think that's really confusing for people is they get into Chief and they start working on things. Ben, mute yourself. You're clickety-clacketing. One of the main things to understand about using a CAD software, and this is true for any CAD software, is you're going to draw your entire project in one plan file. Okay, you're not going to have different plans. You're not going to draw the footprint of the house and then make a copy of it and add the electrical, and then make a copy of that and add the notes for this framing and all the framing detail. Everything gets done in one plan file so that as you update things, everything stays part of that file, so you're not always messing around with different files to get different results. So keep that in mind. So here I'm just clicking through the different kinds of views in my plan. So I'm going to work on my architectural plan where I'm going to add notes and call-outs and things like that. Then I want to work on my electrical plan. I can do that. Then I want to work on my framing so that I can switch to my framing view. So we keep everything in the same plan file, and it just makes it much easier to get the project completed. In our layout pages is where we assemble all the different views that we're creating. That's where we separate out using the different plan views. All right. So plan views, plan views control your default settings and your layers. All right. Layers are what you see on the screen when you're working on something. Defaults are the things that you put on the screen, like text and dimensions and notes and things like that. That's the default settings. So, and this is kind of the control panel to control that. I mean, we'll get in a lot deeper in our classes about how this all works and how you set up your own plan views. But they are very confusing out of the chute. If you simplify it, this is the pages I'm going to print, and it's just a control panel to switch these 2 things to make it so that that's what I'm going to be working on at that point. It's really quite simple when it comes to it. But that simplicity is one of those things, you get the light bulb moment and you go, oh, now I get it. it took me a while. And when they first introduced plan views, and John, it took you a while too, didn't it?
It took you like over a year or better.
Well, I fought it. I fought it because I just wanted to use these two things. I thought the plan views were an extra thing that wasn't necessary.
Right.
So I fought it. But then one day it just hit me like, oh, now I get it. And it's like, okay, so we're all over plan views now. So we're going to use it. I love them. They work great. And there's a lot of things we could do with our plan views. So to create the kind of plans we want. The template I'm using right here is something that I've worked on over the years. John's helped with this too. It's very simple. It's, it covers 85% of what you're ever going to draw. And then if you ever need to do anything else, we can, you can make those different views. So it makes it really easy to work with. All right, let's get started here now. So let's go open up a new plan again. I'm in my extended toolbar. We've got the icons at the top of the screen to draw things. We've got the tools right here at the bottom row. These are the things we're going to draw to the building. You make it look like a building. We've got the icons right here to add dimensions, text, and to do our CAD drawing things that we're going to add to our plan. Okay, so we're going to use those icons a lot. That's kind of the main thing. We got these three icons, which I hope to check on here a little bit. If you watch, I think the last class I talked about those last time we did this. So those are good. Then you've got your libraries, project browser, and layers right here. Just think of these as on-off switches. So that's going to turn my libraries on. I float my libraries out on my other screen. See if I could redock it here. Not going to redock. Let me just go to preferences. If your side windows get messed up, we could go in here and hit reset side windows. All right. And click OK. And now when I click on these things, oh, do I have to restart Chief to do that? Reset side windows. Yeah, I got to relaunch the program. Let's get out of Chief. Let's come back into it. Now my side windows will be back in place. I just like my side windows floating, so I don't have them. So I have more real estate to work with. Okay, but here's so those three buttons turn those side windows on and off. Okay. Project browsers are something we do get into in our beginner classes because you really want to use them. Your libraries, all the different things that you can get from Chief are right here. I always recommend when you're in your library, switch to this icon at the bottom here so that when you're clicking on things in Chief's libraries, you're going to see more things listed here in the bottom. And if you hold your control key down and roll your wheel in and out, you can zoom in and out on this bottom window to show more things on your screen. So it just makes it a lot easier to see what's going on. This just displays a list, so it's a lot harder to see. So use the buttons down here. All right. So there's my side windows.
Dan, we have a question we're just itching to get the answer to. So can you draw 4 walls and put a dimension on it?
You want to do that? Is that why we're here?
That's what we're doing, yes.
Yes.
We have a question that needs to be answered.
Yeah, we have a big question.
So you notice what I just did there. I drew 4 walls, and I used my right mouse button to do that. So try that sometime. Use your right mouse button to draw things. All right. What's the rest of your question?
I'll pull it up right now.
The question is, the dimensions are going to the OSB layer instead of the framing layer. And they have the dimensions set up correctly so that they're going to the dimension wall layer. So we need to show them how to reset.
You can change that.
You will change that in the wall itself. Right. Okay. So when you go open a wall dialog, okay, there's the only way you're going to dimension the sheathing in this example is to go into the wall type. So you click on the wall that you've drawn, open its dialog, go to wall types, go to define, click down here and go to wall properties and look at what it is called dimension to the exterior of what. Okay. And make sure that that's got the stud selected, not the sheathing. So if I switch this up to the OSB right now, which would be this layer, okay, it's going to be the outside of that layer. And this is the outside. The top of this screen is the outside of the wall. Click OK and OK. And now my dimensions shift to the sheathing. All right. So
the other thing to keep in mind there, if the OSB is on the main layer, it's still going to go to that too, isn't it?
No, well,
No,
I don't
no,
think
wouldn't.
so. And you don't want, whoops, I just deleted it. You don't want to be, you don't want your OSB as part of the main
Right.
layer anyway. The main layer should typically be your framing. The framing is what the frame, the main layer is how Chief joins walls together. So if I move this down into that, and I'll set the dimension back to my framing. So that was exterior layer of the first stud. So it's going to say, yeah, you probably shouldn't do that, but I'll do it anyway. But now when I do an interior wall, let's see if it joins up properly. Okay, yeah, it's working okay, but sometimes what'll happen is the main layer will join up with the wrong part of the wall. So the main layer is joining the main layer here, but because there's a main layer there right now, it's joining fine. If I were to go back in here and define this, and let's move that down. Now I click OK. Now we're going to see the interior wall join up. Thought it would, yeah. See how it joins up to the sheathing out there? Even though it doesn't show it, it's actually going to that part of it. So just be careful. Your main layer should always be the framing layer.
So it sounds like she has it set up right. And it's still doing it, Susan?
Yes, that's what she just said.
Right. So what are some other reasons why it would dimension to the OSB instead of... Is the OSB the outside layer?
Yeah, so OSB, is there an OSB and then siding?
In other words, the surface of the wall?
Yeah, the only other way you could do that would be to be deleting, dimensioning the surface. So let me go back in here. I got to set this, define this property back to first stud. Thank you. Okay. All right. Yeah, if it's dimensioning somewhere else, double click on the ruler icon. This is part of the dimensioning in Chief. So the hardest things in Chief to do right away, there's three main areas of Chief that we cover right away. We cover laying out the rooms and getting the 3D platforms in place. Then we talk about stairs, and we talk about roofs. Those are the three most difficult areas of doing things in Chief Architect, especially when you're just getting started. So dimensioning being one of those things used to lay out walls. So when I double click on any ruler icon, it's going to open up the defaults. Look at the wording up here, dimension defaults for this kind of view that I'm working on. If it's set to surface, it is going to, your dimensions will go to surface. Of course, I need to reset the automatic to go to surface, which would be locate auto exterior to the surface. I don't think there's no other way to define a layer of a wall for a dimension to go to other than in the wall dialog. So here I'm getting new dimensions going to the surface of the wall. Just by double clicking on the icon, we can roll down this list here and we can select to change to surface any of these dimensions that we're working with. So let's come back to those dimensions second. Did we get an answer on that? Is there another layer?
Not yet. Another question would be what dimension tool are you using?
I'm using the automatic dimension tool.
Right. But if they're using point to point or something like that, they might get it to the OSB surface.
Yeah. It doesn't change it.
I've had clients that will use what's called the point to point dimension tool. And this is not the tool you want to use to dimension your project. That's only used to dimension areas that are odd angles and things like that. It'll work okay in this situation when I'm snapping to 2 points. And it did snap to the surface here, and I could move that to different parts of the wall. I can't move it to that sheathing layer because that's not part of my main layer. But I can move it to the other parts of the wall. The other thing you could do with this point-to-point thing is you could dimension it right in the middle of the screen, and it's going to leave a point that you can move and set that on things. So Chief will use that sometimes when it can't attach a dimension to something. Exterior layer with siding. The OSB is exterior layer with siding. The only thing I could say is to have Susan send me that plan.
Let's see what's going on.
Susan, if you want to email your plan, I'd be happy to look at it. Dan@chiefexperts.com. I know no reason why it would dimension there if the settings are in the walls are set right. So again, make sure you go to your wall and make sure that it's not set under the defining the wall under wall properties. Make sure your dimension to the exterior of this is not set to the sheathing. Make sure that's set to the framing. I don't know of any other way we could get a dimension to snap to that sheathing automatically. I can't think of a way.
Well, what about on the framing plan? Does it show on the framing plan? Does it show the OSB?
Well, no.
It does it.
If you've set the layers to show main layer only, that's going to look like this, but it's still not going to show the sheathing. Although, unless the sheathing is in the main layer area, then it could show that. Could it?
Hold on. So then, does it pull just to that dimension? Hold on. Let me see what it's doing. I don't have my dimensions all set for interior, so I'm all screwed up. Let me change that to get to the outside. Okay.
Oh, there you go. That could go to sheathing. If we move,
I think if you have a framing plan,
yeah.
Nope, it's pulling to the sheathing still on a framing plan.
Okay.
Yeah, even if you have it.
All right. Well,
it's still pulling to the sheathing. It's not pulling to the.
She's going to send it to you, Dan.
Yeah, send me your plan, Susan. Just email it to Dan and Chief. When you email it, make sure you close Chief before you send it, so that it actually clears the memory and sends out. Okay, let's just go back here and let's go lay out some walls real quick. Okay, and talk about the process that you go through. Oh my God, we're almost out of time already. Just crazy. All right, let's just do this. Let me just delete what I've got here. So whenever you're laying out a project, you're going to choose the kind of walls. I mean, the goal here is to create a project that has the walls that you're going to build the house as. So if you're doing 2x6, use 2x6 walls. Again, I'm going to just lay out a couple of rooms here real quick. I'm just using my right mouse button. It's much quicker when you use your right mouse button. So I'm just dragging, letting go, click, click, and I got it laid out. So the automatic dimensioning is turned on. So again, if I double click on a ruler icon, it's going to be under locate setup automatic, and this auto refresh button is turned on. Okay, you could turn that off just by trying to delete a dimension or come in here and uncheck that. If it did get turned off, you could come back in here anytime and turn it back on. So it's a nice way to get started on your plan when you're just starting to do things in your project. So the next thing is, you don't dimension by moving things into place. You don't dimension by when you're drawing walls, don't look at the dimension that you're pulling it. I mean, you can, but you don't need to do that. Just sketch out the shape you want, and then let's go ahead and start resizing it. So the idea here is I could click on this wall and click on this dimension, and I could say, make that wall 18 feet. I'll make it 20 feet. Okay. And you'll see I got a little icon here that shows it's going to move this wall to the left. All right. So there's that. Now, if I click here and I go here, look at the icons you get now. You get different icons, because now it could move this wall, or it could move this wall, or it could move them both. Okay. Left wall, right wall, or both of them at the same time. So you want to watch that when you're clicking on a wall in front of a dimension. What I tend to teach people to do is, okay, I want to change this number. I've already set this number for the 20 foot. I'm going to change this one by clicking on this wall and clicking on that number. And I'm going to type in the number I need here. Okay. You're going to put in the foot sign. You don't have to ever type the inch sign. So I want that to be 12 feet. So you're just going to work your way around the plan, clicking on the item you want to move. So I've already got that one set at 12. Let's move this one to 14 feet. Okay.
Talk about what you just did, because you just did your dimensioning different, didn't you? You didn't select the wall that you wanted to change. You selected a different wall.
Well, yeah, I clicked again. I'm clicking on the item I actually really want to move. So I want to move this wall back and forth. So I'm clicking on that and changing that number. Here I click this wall and I change that number. So I'm changing that number. Here I don't need to move this one because I already got it where I want it. I want to move this one by clicking this number. Now I want to move my bottom wall by clicking either this number or this number. So let's click on that and I'll make that, 30 feet. Okay. So now I see how I'm getting my numbers nice and clean, no fractions. Okay. Let's get this one straightened out. I want that to be 20 feet. So, and I didn't type the foot sign in, so therefore I got 20 inches. So let's go 20 feet.
I think
and it's really a good idea.
Dan, this is probably one of the biggest things that you could teach a new user is to dimension their walls into place.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to get their whole plan done. And then they're going to realize their dimensions aren't exactly what they want them to be. They're going to be off a 1/4 inch, and then they're going to change them. And then their roof is going to be wrong, and their windows are going to be wrong, and all that stuff. So do this at the very beginning.
I think one of the big things that gets me when we work with a lot of people and they send us their plans and we look at them, is if the roofs are done and now we need to move some walls because there's fractions all over the place, we have to move the walls separately. So hang on here. Susan just sent me her plan. Let's do a little quick troubleshoot.
The other thing too, when you're dimensioning your walls, work in one direction. So I always tell people to work in clockwise manner.
Yeah.
Go all the way around in the clockwise manner. And I always change my exterior walls first, and then I go in and change my interior walls, but always work in the same direction. Don't start going all over the place because you'll never get it right.
It's a good rule of thumb. As you get more proficient with Chief and you understand more of what's happening as you're doing things, then it doesn't matter. But when you're starting out, that's a really good rule of thumb, is to just go in one direction around your plan. So your wall setup looks good. You got 3.5 inch framing. You got your OSB here. If I click on the wall properties, we've got it set to build platform dimension to the framing, foundation to the framing. So this is all set up fine. I don't see any issue there. Let me turn the grid off. I don't like the snap grids. Everything's dimensioning to the framing. So either it changed on my computer, which it can't because
I think she moved them. I think she moved them.
She must look. They look good. I mean, you can click on, when you click on a dimension line, you can click on the dimension line itself. And you can also click on these little extensions. And now I could pull this extension onto the wall and I could see that it's dimensioning to the framing. So Susan, this looks fine if and you want to dimension to the framing, right? Not to the sheathing. Okay.
Dan, can you turn off the dimensions quick or delete them and redo the automatic dimensions and see what happens?
Sure. Okay. So I'm just going to highlight the ruler icon. I'm going to hold my shift key down and draw a marquee around that. It's going to get all your dimensions. Now I deleted all the dimensions. I'm going to double click on the ruler icon. Well, I could either turn them back on to auto refresh, or I could just hit the auto refresh, the auto dimension icon right here. So either way, I'll just turn on the auto refresh. It's going to get us a lot more dimensions. It's going to the framing. So it looks like it's doing just fine. And so we're missing something here, Susan. So
turn the grid snaps back on and try it one more time.
Auto dimensions won't hit the grid snaps, will it?
I didn't think they would, but
yeah.
That's the only thing you changed since you got it, right? Just off the grid snaps.
Let me just go ahead and delete the dimensions again. This time I'll use this auto dimension tool, and it's going to framing again. So if I zoom in there and pull that line on there, yeah, looks good.
Go down to the foundation once and see what's. I wonder if the walls are aligned properly. And it's
we're getting different dimensions.
I wonder if the walls are aligning with the OSB. The foundation walls are aligning with the OSB. And that's why it looks like it's doing that. You could go look at the wall types and see what that's doing too.
Edit, paste, hold position. So it is lining up with, oh, that's the wrong thing I'm looking at. Yeah, it's lining up with the framing.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can see because it's a blue line, that means it's lined up with the framing.
She says the left wall wasn't aligned, so maybe that was the issue.
That could be.
Okay.
Okay. Good question, though. I mean, yeah, those are the kind of questions, if you're not sure, ask. I mean, why not?
Yep.
We don't have much time left, so let me just cover a few more things about dimensioning. All right. So again, anytime you add something to your plan, again, I've got the auto dimension set on. Okay. So I'm going to put some windows in. I'm going to make that, 8 feet from the corner. I'm going to click this window and make that, just make this one 8 feet as well. So again, you have to type the foot sign. You never have to type the inch sign. So you click on the item you want to move, and then click on the dimension number you want to change. So at any time, you can add dimensions to things and remove dimensions. So let me show you real quick how that works. So when you look at a dimension line, and when you click on a dimension line, you'll see you get these diamonds here. Okay, you got a diamond here, and you got a diamond, in various spots. You got one on the window here. So you can move those. Now, when I do this now, because auto dimensions turned on, it's going to say, oh, now you need to turn that off. Okay. Oh, yeah, I'll turn it off. So now I can move these points to different spots. I can move it to the outer framing or outer wall. I could move to the framing. I could move it to center of wall, center of framing, or center of the entire wall, or interior of the framing, or interior of the wall. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 6 snap points on a wall like this. Okay, on an interior wall, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because that's if you have same sheetrock on both sides. All right. Same with windows. You can click on the dimension line. You can grab this handle and you can move it to different spots on other items. I can move it to the casing outside, casing outside, casing inside, frame, or center of window, or rough opening. There's also a rough opening set snap that you can move that to, and you could position those wherever you want them. Okay, I got another dimension there. Okay. The other thing you could do is at any time, why is that not going away? Call that message. I'll go turn my auto dimensions off. All right, so there. Now I can get rid of this. All right, you can also add dimensions using this button right here. Okay, so click that and set it on where you want the dimension to be added. So I want to add it to the frame of the window. I want to add it to the center of the window. I want to add it to the edge of this cabinet. I want this cabinet to be, 7 feet from that edge. So you can easily add and remove. You can pull points off of things to get rid of them as well. So that's what these handles are for. Wherever you click, you're going to get a diamond. You can set that diamond on things in your plan. A lot of people miss that. The other thing you could do with windows and doors is, let me just draw an interior dimension here. So I like using the interior dimensions a lot. So when I'm doing things, I'll go like that. And then I want to dimension this window. So I'm going to add 2 dimensions here. I add 1 to each side of the window. So I could take this first one, and again, it's going to the outer part of the frame. I could click on this and say, I want that window to be 8 feet from that wall. Now I could click on this again by clicking on this handle right here. So I've got this one where I want it. Now I want to change this one to the right width. So I could click on that, and you see how you get the highlighted handle right here. Now I could click on this number and I could change that to whatever I want the width of the window to be. It's a great way to, when you're doing as-built and things like that, to add your dimensions to those windows. Click on, move the one side and then move the other side. So you can click on either side of a window and door to do that, to change the width. All right. That makes some sense.
We have 6 minutes left, Dan.
All right. What do we want to talk about real quick?
Did you want Renee to show his cabinet stuff?
Yeah, we could do that.
And I just wanted to mention to Susan, it's about her wall being misaligned. That happens to everybody.
It does. Keeping walls lined up is kind of a pain.
And
I noticed that we could do the same thing to cabinets. I could click on an edge, but it doesn't turn the handle to a selected edge handle. See how with the window, you get the selected edge? With the cabinet, I could click here and I could click on this number and change that side of it to a different size. I wonder if that's something.
You're gonna get, if Kevin was here, he'd get all fired up about that.
There you go. Renee, yeah, why don't you, since we're almost out of time, and I always forget how fast an hour goes, and
it goes quick.
I mean, yeah, we didn't even get close to what I wanted to talk to.
So, I built a showroom, by the way.
You built
a showroom?
That showroom.
Nice.
I built a showroom while we were talking.
Nice.
Nice.
Speaking of beginners, I feel like this is one of my few kits that really can work for beginners.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of pre-made showers that are built on the cabinet tool, but you don't need to know that that's built on the cabinet tool. You just get to know that you can just click and place something and resize it. Like I'll just resize this guy, and it's just as simple as that. It's gonna kind of bump out. So I give you, I think, 18 different types of showers, some of the most common showers. Some of them have integrated partition walls. So like, here's another cabinet and I get to drag this down, and you're going to see that this wall is actually part of that shower assembly. So nice for just clicking and placing and dropping a toilet on the other side would be a simple way of doing this. And then if you're unfamiliar with this program, that little bit of fuzziness there is that we're in a ray trace view to make these look really realistic. So that's just ironing out the view. But yeah, I give you all kinds of different configurations as well as components in case you need to change something about a configuration. But the nice part about all this is that everything is color coded. This is something that's a little more difficult to do in Chief without this kit, which is getting stuff like the wrapping of the material here as it wraps around the half wall. And you know, one side of this is tile, one side of this is painted drywall. They're both paintable surfaces. So that I just show you here. Again, these are more of these showers in the kit, but all of the showers come looking like the other ones we just previewed. And now I've just painted different components to drastically change their look very quickly. It just means you can just paint different elements of this and it's all just one contained cabinet. So you can make some really ugly showers really fast.
Renee, the next question is, how can someone get that kit?
You can go to my website. I don't know if we have a banner for my website built up.
Actually, I think I do. I can find it. It is. Let's see, it's not that one. Here it is.
There we go. Nice. And this is my one-click shower system, is what it's, or 1 minute shower system is what it's called.
Yeah. And I bet you the guys on the call would never guess how Renee created these showers.
Right.
Let's see if anybody
my favorite tool in Chief Architect.
Let's see if anybody comes up with the right answer. But yeah, really nice tool to really pop those really nice showers in quickly.
It's really cool. It's
really
very cool.
That. You've done a nice job.
Thanks, guys.
You keep excelling, Renee. Keep it up. All right.
So Aaron has a question or a comment. Yep. Maybe we should cover it a little bit. Mike got the answer right. Modified cabinets.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. There, John.
Where'd it go, Aaron?
Oh, it's one up there. Yeah.
I'd like a feature highlight all walls that are not aligned with wall above or below it.
Well, then that. And then a button to align them all would be great as well.
Yeah, to do them all at once. But we do have that so that we can at least see if they're aligned right by using the floor reference tool. And then if you click on a wall, it'll tell you if it's aligned with the wall above it or below it. That kind of thing.
I suppose I wouldn't care if I just selected all walls and had one button to just align all.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Aaron on that one. But Aaron, stop screwing up.
Just get them aligned right to start with.
Yeah.
Quit messing around.
Stop pulling them.
You're
Dimension them
mean.
into place.
I love it.
Oh, you can almost
That's
do
great.
it. Anyway, cool.
This is good.
It's there when you group select walls. If there's more than one wall out of alignment, it brings up the icon, but doesn't do anything.
Oh, can you?
Here, I'll show you. You want to show my screen?
Renee, you need to stop sharing your screen. I can't get them off of there. There we go. So you're selecting more than one wall?
So I have these two walls are not aligned, as you can see.
Okay.
So I can group select them. Here's my alignment tool right here. Okay. I can select this one, and I still have my alignment tool.
Can you select another one?
But it doesn't do anything. See, that one's aligned. Now I lose the tool. So anyway, works on one wall at a time.
The align button doesn't do anything when you have both selected, right?
No, right. It's there, but it doesn't do anything. So it's kind of remembering the first wall you selected, I think, but it doesn't do anything. So, oh well, that's okay. All right, you guys. Again, be sure to, if you're interested in do some live training with John and myself, check us out on chiefexperts.com. It's the Rockville coming up second week of May, and it'll be a fun class. We always have fun doing those kind of classes, and we share a ton of information. Other than that, you guys got anything you want to add?
Not right now.
Okay. I think we're done.
It's great. Have a great week, everybody.
Everybody
Enjoy your
take
weekend.
care. We'll see you guys next time. Bye
See
now.
you soon. Bye.